to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to learn how to make this explosion box with this lovely magnolia on the top. It's all decorated around the outside with magnolia papers, and then we open it up, and inside we've got the thank you sentiment, and it's all nicely decorated, and then we've got this little keepsake box inside that we can put a little chocolate or a piece of jewellery or something like that in for the recipient. So it just makes really lovely packaging, and I think that someone would feel really special if they got given this. So I'm going to take that out. So I'm going to show you what we're going to use to make it. So the main thing that we're going to use to decorate this box is this lovely Magnolia Lane Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up. Now I will say, if you want this paper, it's currently on the retiring list, which means that once it's gone, it's gone. So there'll be no more back in stock. So if you do want this, now's the time. So we've got these patterns on this side, and we have these patterns on this side. So it's really, really beautiful, and lots of opportunity for fussy cutting as well. Oh, we're missing one. There's one here as well. The other key things we're going to use are these Magnolia memory dies. So in this you get a really large magnolia that actually cuts out from the coordinating stamp set. But it's these magnolia dies that we're going to use to create the magnolia on top of the box. You can see you get a lot of different dies within there. Let me just get it out for you so you can see. So this is a gorgeous large magnolia. You get loads of leaves and a different magnolia here. You get some centres, you get this piece that cuts a nice shape for the bottom of a card, and you get the magnolias that we're going to use today. So a lot of these pieces not only cut out from the coordinating stamp set, but also the papers that we're going to use. Then for the little box in the centre, we're going to use this curvy keepsake, and this die set is called the mini curvy keepsake box dies, and we're going to use the main box for the centre. You can see that you get lots of other little bits and pieces with that. And then we're also going to use a couple of punches. We're going to use this label punch. We're also going to use this leaf punch. So we're using a lot of different things today. I'm sure a lot of them you've got things in your stash that you could substitute for them, like a different flower die or different leaves. Maybe you've got leaf dies that you could substitute instead. Okay, so let's start the box with the base. So we're going to take a piece of 9" by 6 1/4" basic black cardstock. You might be able to see mine's already scored, so I know where to score it, but obviously you'll have a plain piece of cardstock, and we're going to score at 3 inches and 6 inches on the long side, and then again at 3 inches and 6 inches on the short side. So we'll pop that to the side for a second, and then we'll bring in the piece of cardstock that we'll use for our lid. I've got a 6" by 6" piece of basic black cardstock, and I'm just going to place that just slightly away from the edge of the scoreboard, and I'm going to score at 3/4 inch and 1.5 inches, and then turn it round, and I'm going to do this on every side. So I'm just going to place it slightly away from the edge and then score it at 3/4 and 1.5. And the reason we want to place it slightly away from the edge is so that the square that we're left with in the middle is actually slightly larger than 3 inches, and that will mean that it's a good fit for the top of our box. So we're going to do that on all 4 sides, and then we're going to set that aside, and then we're going to bring back in the first piece of cardstock that we scored. So this is our base. So then I'm going to fold that on all of the lines. And then I'm going to cut out for 4 corners, so this large piece, and this thinner strip and this thinner strip. I'm going to cut off that corner. So then we're left with this shape here. Now I'm doing this to show you how to make this from an A4 of cardstock, but if you've got a bigger piece of cardstock, you can actually just cut out a 9" by 9" square to start with, score at 3 6 inches on each side, and then just cut out all 4 corners and you'll be left with a piece like this. Because we're doing this out of A4 cardstock, there's not enough room to go 9 inches wide, so we're just going to cut little tabs off the corner of this. And then with one of the corners that we've cut off, we're just going to add a bit of glue down here. I'm just going to stick this on. And obviously if you want a bit of a neater finish, you can always do all of the cutting with your trimmer instead of your scissors. This is going to be the outside of the box, and this one where the flap is the inside. So on the outside of the box, so I've got 6 pieces of Magnolia paper here. 4 will go on the outside and 2 on the inside, so we'll stick 2 to the side for now, and they measure 2 3/4 inches square, and we're going to stick those on all the 4 sides. So this centerpiece will be the bottom of our box, and we're going to stick these pieces of paper on each of the sides. Now this paper that I'm using is quite good because you can use it in any direction, but these pieces are going to go like this up the side. So if you are using a different type of pattern paper that's more directional, then you need to make sure that the pattern goes out from the centre, because that will go up. I hope that makes sense. Now I can turn this over, and the other 2 pieces are going to go either side here. So you want to make sure that your flap is on one of these sides, because then when we put this paper on, it just hides the flap and no one will ever know it's there. Okay, so then next I've got 2 pieces of this stripy paper, and I've cut them to, this one is 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inches, and this one's 1/2 inch by 2 3/4 inches. And I'm just going to put those on this bottom piece. I'm going to put this one at the top. And this one at the bottom. And then I've just got this Magnolia paper with the lovely flowers on it, and I'm just going to cut out some of the flowers to decorate the box. So I'm going to leave a small border around the outside, and the trick to cutting out anything detailed is to move the paper and not the scissors, and then you get a nice flow rather than jaggedy lines. So that's the big one that I'll put down there, and then I need just 2 halves to just decorate the top. So then I'm just going to add a few dimensionals to the back of here. So that finishes our bottom panel. So then for the top, I'm just going to find this scrap of petal pink cardstock, and I'm going to use the thanks sentiment from this Good Morning Magnolia stamp set that coordinates with the papers and the dies, but you could of course use any sentiment that you've got on hand. So I'm going to use my Memento black ink. I'll just use this bit here. Then I'm going to grab my label punch. All of the products that we've used today will be linked underneath the video. I'm just going to centre that there, and I'm just going to punch it out. And then for panels like this, I like to use the edges of the dimensionals. So I'm just going to add some of that there, and the other bit on the bottom. And then I'm just going to have a look where I want to put my flowers on here. So if I do them like that. So I think I want to stick them like that. So I'll stick that one on there like that. And then I'll stick this one down here. And then I'm just going to stick my thanks over the top. Like that. And then I can just trim any overhanging leaves off the side because we don't want them to overhang the side. So then there's the centre of our box. So I've now cut one of the curvy keepsake dies that we saw earlier. I've used that to cut this shape out of some of the Magnolia paper. So I'm just going to fold that, and then it's nice to curve the paper. It sits better if you curve the paper before you fold it. And then you can just bring these two pieces to the centre, and then the two side pieces come over the top. Just shape them out a bit. And that can sit in the centre of your box. So you can add that with a bit of glue or some glue dots, but I like to keep it loose until I put the gift in, just so that it's easy to take apart and stuff. So that is the base of our box. So I'm going to take that out now, and I'm going to bring in the lid. So for the lid of our box, we're going to bring in this piece that we scored earlier, and we're going to fold all of the lines. And then what we're going to do, in each of the corners, we're going to cut out up here. So we're going two small squares in the corner. We're going to cut that off like that. And then we're going to cut this smaller square off here. So then we have this like step shape. And then we're going to cut up here just to the score line. So then we've got a flap, and then we're going to cut the triangles off the flap. So let's do that again in this corner. So we go up to one score line and cut that piece off, up and cut that piece off. Then we're going to cut along here so that we've got a flap, and then we're going to cut triangles off the side of each flap. So we're going to carry on and do that for the two remaining corners as well. So with the flaps, it doesn't matter which side you cut up. You can cut up there or you can cut up there. It's not going to make a difference, just as long as you've got a flap. So then we're going to put a bit of glue on each of the flaps. So now all that's nicely lined up, we're just going to bring in our scissors and just cut a notch off each of the ends of these flaps. I hope you can see that on the video. Then once we've done that, we can put some glue on the inside of each of the flaps. And then we're just going to push those down, and that will help reinforce the lid. It makes it nice and neat as well. Then once that's all nicely stuck down, we can get to decorating the lid. So I've got 4 of these strips measuring 3 inches by 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to glue those around the top of our box. And then to finish our box, we're just going to make a nice flower to go on the top. So to make the flower, I've used this smaller die and this larger die, and I've cut out 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock with each. So I've got 2 big ones there and 2 smaller ones there. And the way that I like to put the flower together, I just use my fingers to give it a little bit of dimension like this. There are loads of shaping tools and things on the market, so if you don't want to do it like this, you can always use a shaping tool or the edge of a pencil. I prefer just to use my fingers. I'm going to do the same with the big ones, just give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'm going to layer them up, so I'm going to put a bit of glue on there and I'm going to offset it on the other one. And I'm going to do the same with these, so I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the back of there and offset it on there. And then I can use dimensional just to add the smaller one to the larger one. You can already see it starting to take shape. And then I've just used this centre die to cut out a piece of So Saffron cardstock. So I'm just going to bend up the little bits around the edge, just again to give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'm going to stick that in the middle. And then I'm just going to put one of our faceted gems just in the centre of the flower, just to finish it off. And there's our lovely flower to stick on the top of our box. That goes on there, and I think that just makes the top of the box look really special. The next thing we're going to do is take a scrap of this paper that we've been using and the leaf punch, and we're just going to punch a couple of leaves out of that. So we can just fold down the leaves, and that will give them a bit of dimension. Just put a little bit of glue on the stalks. We can just pop them under our flower like this. So then that's our lid completed. So I'll bring back in the box. I can just put the lid on like this. And then that makes lovely packaging for someone's present. So we can just take that off, it all pops down. This won't rattle around once you've stuck it to the bottom. It looks gorgeous. So that's our project done for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please click subscribe below to see all of our future projects. The products that we've used today are linked in the description below, as is my blog if you want to go and have a look for all of the dimensions. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!